Welcome back. EFF leader Julius Malema says common assault charges against police officers should be scrapped. He also says the officer who's accusing him and MP Mbuyseni Ndlozi of assault lacks Ubuntu. Malema was speaking after appearing at the Randburg Magistrates Court on charges of assault. He and Ndlozi are accused of assaulting a police officer at Winnie Madikizela Mandela's funeral. Manqoba Mqunu is following the story for us. He joins us now live. So this trial delayed today, leading to a postponement. Tell us why.
Well, certainly, Shahan, you recall that the trial was meant to begin at 9 a.m. this morning, with the complainant in this matter, Colonel Johan Venter, expected to take the stand. But of course, we did see the case hit yet another snag after the media was denied access to the court. In fact, we had made an application in the morning to the magistrate to allow us to film those proceedings inside court. But Magistrate Punsami making it quite clear that he's not going to allow the media today to film those proceedings, due to the fact that he says the application for access was rather late today. So he had suggested that, in fact, we need to make another new application for the next hearing, which will be on the 28th of October. But interestingly, Shahan, Malema coming in support of the media, insisting that the case will not be fair, or the matter would not be fair if it's not heard in its entirety. So he's saying that he doesn't want this matter to be heard in drips and drabs, that it will be unfair for them also as the EFF if this matter was to go ahead without the testimony of Colonel Johan Venter being televised. So they came in support of the media, saying that, in fact, the media should be allowed to make this application, and that the court should grant the media this application so that the media will be able to tell this trial in its whole entirety. So he says that if this was not going to happen, then the whole matter then should not be televised. Let's take a listen to what is to say on this issue, Shahan.
It's either you cover the white men today and you cover us after. And if you can't cover the white men, therefore you can't cover us. So we must be covered, all of us. And that's what our position is. The media must be allowed in. The white men must be questioned in front of cameras with all these black people who pretend to be black where they are white inside, who are here to support the white men. They must all be covered. Their faces must be shown on TV. Their children must know these are sellouts. You see? So they must all be covered. We want to make them famous. Everybody must be covered here. It's not only us who are going to be covered. The magistrate can't say, no, today we are proceeding, because it's the white man who gives the evidence without cameras. And then when it is our turn, then she's going to probably allow cameras to participate inside. You are not going to agree to that. So we must all be treated the same here. That's what we are saying, and that's what we have asked our lawyers to go and do. The media must be allowed throughout this case. If they cannot be allowed today, they must never be allowed forever, because it's the same case. So how it starts, that's how it must end.
All right, regarding that media application then, how has that matter been resolved?
Well, Shahan, I think we've spent the better part of the day arguing in court. In fact, eNCA also bringing in its lawyers to come and argue for the media to have access to this case. And moreover, I think the most important thing was for this issue to be televised, and whether we could live stream these proceedings, given the public interest that this case has attracted. So the lawyers arguing, of course, there have to be some concessions that were made, Shahan, with regards to COVID-19 and the Disaster Management Act. And so some of the arguments and concessions that were made is that there will be a pool feed service that will be provided to the media that will be handled or anchored by one of the media houses, and that only a few journalists will be allowed in court. And this will come, of course, in the first come, first served basis, with the magistrate saying that the journalist, whoever arrives first, will then be permitted to come inside court, and whoever arrives late will not be permitted inside court. But I think the tricky part, the magistrate, even though he did grant the media access to the court, the tricky part is the fact that while we are allowed to cover these proceedings, we are only allowed to record the proceedings and not to live stream these proceedings. So it has really left many media houses asking how this will work, given the fact that there will be cameras inside court, there will be filming those proceedings. So that application was granted by the court, but in terms of the live coverage, that has not been allowed so far.
All right, so Malema, of course, addressed supporters outside the court. What did he have to say?
Indeed, Shahan, Malema speaking to his supporters, of course, he still continues to deny that he is guilty of assaulting Colonel Johan Venter, saying that this is a waste of time. He insists that he is only guilty of merely pushing a police officer. And he says this happens almost in all protests that we see throughout the country, where you'll find that due to the spirited nature of those protests, you find police being bumped by some of the protesters. But because police have understand the situation at that time, this is why they don't react. There are no court cases that are taken up against him. So he insists that these policemen simply have no Ubuntu and that there is an ulterior political motive behind him being charged for common assault. Let's take a listen to some of his utterances there outside.
Why do you have a common assault against a police officer? Police get pushed every day. If they were to open common assault cases, then there will be no dockets available because police get pushed every day. A white man who suffers from a privilege thinks that he cannot be pushed the same way police get pushed all the time. Police must be pushed because half the time they enter difficult areas even where people are emotional at times. Some are irrational, they do not think properly. When a policeman gets pushed in a situation like that, they always understand that as an officer of the law, you will get in difficult situations. You have to be guided by the spirit of Ubuntu from time to time and understand that when people are at graveside, majority of them are emotional on that day.